Okay, so bond rapport. So bond rapport, the whole purpose of bond rapport is to get people to feel comfortable with you, right? And people feel comfortable with you when you are like them. People like people that are like them. Okay, that's just sort of a real premise in our business is people like people that are like them. So how do you become like them? Well, one way to become like them is use NLP techniques that we're going to teach you right now. Okay? So again, very surface level. The NLP stuff, I could do hours and hours on it because I love it. It's one of the most powerful techniques of influence. You can totally influence anybody, and they don't even know that you're influencing them. They'll have no clue. Okay, so we're going to use a lot of those techniques and teach you those, just basic stuff. We're not going to go into a lot of depth. So the first one is something that maybe you've heard before, and Jonah should have been able to talk about this yesterday, is the concept of mirror and matching. Okay, so remember, the premise is people like people that are like them. So we're going to teach you how to be like them, even though you are a different race, a different religion, different color, different gender, whatever. It doesn't matter. These NLP techniques are powerful things that will help them feel super comfortable with you, where you're got tremendous bond rapport with them. You know, think back to people that you've met in your life and it could be your spouse, where you just hit it off with them. There's just something about them that you like a lot. And you find that there are a lot of common elements about them. It's almost like that feeling where you talk to them for a long time, just like in your mind, you're going, wow, it's like I've known this person all my life, right? Well, chances are it's because they're very much like you. You know, it's not a narcissistic thing, but, you know, mirror matching is a very important thing. In fact, when you go into a restaurant, how can you tell if a date's going well, right? Well, you can tell a date's going well is when they're like leaning towards each other, they're like engaged, they're looking each other in the eye, their body positioning is just like right one-on-one, right? How do you know they're having a terrible date? Well, one person's kind of sitting like this, looking off somewhere. The other person's in their phone. They're not synced up. One's kind of turning away. Their bodies are not, you know, lined up. One's like this. It's actually called breaking rapport. So you ever like do that with someone you're trying to get away from? Like you're talking to them, you want to get away, so you start doing this, right? You start turning, you're trying to break rapport with them, and they keep coming at you, you know? So you all know how to do this, okay, but now we're going to do it intentionally. So what are some of the elements of mirror matching that you can use like immediately? Well, the first one is vocally. Your vocal mirror and matching. And Jonah might have mentioned this yesterday. There's two elements of the vocal quality. There's tonality, and there's rate of speech, okay? So what is the tonality? Well, tonality is where you match their basic tone of voice. So if they talk really soft spoken, kind of like a jazz DJ voice, then you got to tone it down to the jazz DJ voice in you. You know, if they got real Michael Jackson voice, then you mirror that. Okay, if they talk real bold and real powerful, then you talk real bold and real powerful, okay? It's matching tonality. And people will hear you more, they will relate to you more when you have that same mirror, when you're mirroring that. The next one is rate. So if they talk really fast, you got to talk really fast too. You got to catch up with them, make sure, because if you try to slow down, you're going to drive them crazy. Likewise, if they talk very deliberate, then you need to talk as deliberate as them. So if you talk really fast like me, because I'm a very visual person, visual people have pictures like, you know, in their mind, they can't catch up with their language. Those people tend to be visual people. So you have got to catch up to them, right? But by the same token, people that talk very deliberate and slowly will drive you nuts. Okay, so don't try to speed up thinking they're going to speed up. You have to slow down for them. Okay, so vocal quality. The next one is body language. Mirror and match their body language. Okay, now the body language thing is, it's only so good to determine how someone's feeling by reading their body language. The ultimate body language idea, especially with NLP, is mirror and matching the body language. So if they're like sitting back in their chair, you sit back in your chair. If they're leaning forward like this on the table, you lean forward when you're talking to them. You know, if they're crossing their legs, you know, you cross your leg. They will, by the way, they will not know that you are mirror and matching them. People are so into themselves. They're so into themselves. They're not thinking about you mirror and matching them. This is the advantage you have. So by mirror and matching their body language, you create rapport. But the other important thing with the NLP technique is that you'll start feeling what they're feeling. There's this mega empathic thing that goes on when you're mirror matching the person across from you, okay? Is you're going to start feeling what they're feeling. You're going to feel sales tension. You're going to feel a little doubt. You're going to feel uncertainty. You're going to feel like they're on board with this and they want to run with you, okay? The only way you're going to get that empathic feeling is if you mirror and match their body language and then secondarily their vocal quality. Super important. I mean, I can talk about NLP techniques of matching their breathing rate. Like seriously, matching their breathing rate is another, you know, I'm not going to write it down because it's, now we're getting into a lot of really cool, powerful techniques, but I don't want you to have to get all freaked out and worried about, oh my God, I can't remember anything. Just, this is simple stuff right here. Okay, again, that book will help you with more stuff, but you just do this, you're going to be further ahead than the average Joe salesperson, okay? The second thing, learn and use their names. The sweetest sound to someone's ears is the sound of their name. Right, Gwen? Daniel, you know what I'm talking about? Susie, right? Susie. Right, John? And who else? Clow. All right, Clow. I mean, that's what it says on your caller ID. But you know, when I mention your name, your ears kind of perked up a little bit, right? Use their names and use them often, okay? And then learn their children's names. So forever, from this point on, Claudia, Clow. All right, Claudia. See, I've taught my children to correct people's mispronunciation of their names. Like I have a son, Athan, who's named after St. Athanasius. But his name's Athan, A-T-H-A-N. Well, a lot of people think it's like Ethan, so they think it's Athan. I've told my son, Athan, I go, dude, whenever someone calls your name wrong, correct them right away, okay? Because you got to be proud of your name, right, Claudia? So I appreciate you letting me know how that is, okay? So never ever say you're bad at remembering names, because if you say that, then you forever will be. I believe in speaking what you want, not what you have, and you can't say that you're bad at remembering names. You got to say, man, I remember names all the time, so I'll give you a technique. So when you're getting to know the people, use their names right away in asking a question, in a sentence. So Joe, what do you think? How long have you and Mary lived here? Right? You just use their names. Always use their names. The other thing is learn their children's names. okay, and write them down. I would recommend writing it down because it shows that you care about getting to know the client, right? And by you showing that you care enough to write their names down, then that just says something to them about you, okay? So, Joe and Mary, so you have children. What are your children's names? Well, our oldest son, his name's Sammy. Oh, wow, that's a cool name. How old's Sammy? See, you use it right away. So how old is Sammy? Well, Sammy's 7 years old. Oh, wow, that's cool. How about your next child? Well, the next child's Martha. Oh, that's a great name. That's a biblical name. And how about Martha? How old is Martha? Oh, she's 5 years old. All right. And you have another child? Oh, yeah, Bridget, little Bridgie. Oh, Bridget, I love that name. Bridget, that's a cute name. Is she named after a relative or an ancestor? Oh, she is. Oh, your great-grandmother. Yeah, I like that name too, Bridget. And how old's Bridget? Oh, she's 3. Oh, wow. Any more kids? That's it? You stopped at 3? Okay. Looks like you kind of spaced them evenly apart. That's good. So what is Sammy into? What kind of sports does Sammy like to do? Oh, man, likes to play soccer? Oh, that's cool. How about Martha? Is she into sports or what is she into? Oh, dance. So she likes to dance. Oh, that's great. And Bridget? Oh, Bridget does everything. She likes to play sports. She likes to dance. She likes to dress up. She's kind of likes to do everything. Wow, that's pretty cool. See, so when you start talking to them about their kids, use their kids' names. So now you can refer to the family as Mary, Sammy, Martha, and Bridget. So when you ask Joe, so Joe, you just heard Mary talk about how difficult it would be if we didn't get this taken care of tonight and something happened to you tomorrow. Like, how would you feel about Mary, Sammy, Martha, and Bridget going through all that pain, all that suffering, if we didn't get this taken care of tonight? Right? You don't just say, well, how does it make you feel that your family's going to have to go through all that? It's like your family. Come on, man. Use their names. Mary, Sammy, Martha, and Bridget. Okay. Mary, Sammy, Martha, and Bridget. And if you talk to any of our top producers, I promise you that they will know the names of everyone in that house. And they can tell you that, yeah, last week, the first sale that I did last week, his name was Ben, and his wife's name is Jenny, whatever. They'll tell you exactly, right? I mean, that's how strong the bond of rapport is with us, that you really use their names. I mean, I've spent a lot of time on this, but I tell you what, this is a powerful, powerful bond and rapport technique right here, okay? So as we're going through the bond and rapport slides, you're going to, we tell them, so we are a national alliance of agents and agencies working together to provide mortgage, final expense, life insurance, and retirement protection to our clients. Okay, I don't typically read all the slides. This one I might read just to get into it, okay? Then I flip and I tell them about me. So the About Me slide is where you tell them a little bit about you, but it's not so much about you as it is about them. I want to use my information to ask them about them. So this is where we get into the bond and rapport questions, okay? And these questions are very important to get to know the client, okay? Questions. So we jump into it based on, so I tell them, so let me tell you a little bit about me. My name's Alex Abuyuan. And I grew up all over the country because my dad was in the Navy. But we finally settled down in California when he retired. So Joe and Mary, how did you guys, are you guys from around here? Okay. So, are you from around here? So what I want to do is I want to get the story of how they came together here. What brought them to this area? What brought them to this house? Did they grow up around here? Getting to know their background, okay? Kind of how they came here, right? The next question, so, I tell them, settled down in California. I was stationed in the Air Force here in Dayton. And that's where I met my wife, Ginny, doing theater. We got married in 1991. So how did you two meet? Okay. How did you two meet? And this is where I really love hearing these stories. I mean, I'm genuinely an inquisitive person. And I genuinely love to know how they met each other. And I want to hear the funny story. And I try to prompt them, with a funny story like, Joe, is that how it went down, that you went and you kind of try to pick her up? He goes, no, she went after me, and because what I want them to do is I want them to remember through stories how they fell in love with each other. Because when you can get them remembering how they fell in love with each other, the fight that they had before you showed up goes away. They remember more about why they love each other. And you don't buy insurance on people you don't love. You buy insurance on people you love. And I want to get that good juju feeling. I'm taking them back. I like asking questions like, so what was your song at your wedding? Did you have a special song? Oh, yeah. We just love, And then you talk about the song. And then and you know how it is when you hear like, maybe the first person that you got together with, you fell in love with, you guys had your song, like mine was Reasons by Earth, Wind & Fire. When I hear Reasons, the live version by Earth, Wind & Fire, it takes me back to slow dancing with my high school girlfriend in the back of her house celebrating her graduation. When I hear Reasons, and I'm sure you all have that song that takes you back to that moment in time, that's what I'm trying to get them to do, because you master that, oh my gosh, the bond rapport, you will knock it down, man. You will knock it down. So how did you two meet? That's the second one, okay? So then I go into, we have 5 wonderful kids, 3 girls and 2 boys. Man, it's nice to get to know Sammy, Martha, and Bridget, Prior to protecting families, I was in the Air Force, and I worked as a defense contractor. When I'm not protecting families, I enjoy playing my guitar in my praise and worship band, okay? And if I find out that they're, if they share my faith, and we'll talk a little bit about that too, I don't do that as a technique as much as I enjoy, talking about my faith. And if they're kind of down with it, I'm down with it too. So anyway. But look, you don't got to go there. Okay, please, it's whatever. And then I tell my story, due to the passing of my grandmother, who had plenty of life insurance, which greatly helped our family out. I am passionate about making sure other families are protected like our family was. This leads you to the next question, which is, do you know anyone close to you that has passed away recently? Do you know anyone close that died recently, like in the last couple of years? And then I want to know, my Uncle Joe. Oh man, how did Uncle Joe die? Okay, using the name again, Uncle Joe. When they say Uncle Joe, I say Uncle Joe. So how did Uncle Joe die? Well, he died of a heart attack. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. How long ago was that? Well, it was just this last summer. Oh man. Well, let me ask you, did he have life insurance? Okay, so that's kind of the sub-bullet here. Did he or she have life insurance? Okay. And if they say, no, he didn't, or if they said, yes, he did, then you ask the next question, how did that affect the family? I want to get the good story or the bad story. Doesn't matter if he did or not. Either story is effective. How did that affect the family, either positively or negatively, right? Oh man, he had plenty of life insurance. In fact, his daughters are set up for their college education. Wow, that is so awesome. Man, he really loved his family, didn't he? Oh yeah, he did. Well, I'll tell you what, that's why I'm here. I'm going to make sure that you guys are protected just like his family was protected. Boom. You nailed it. Okay. They say, oh, no, he didn't have any life insurance. Oh, man. How did that affect the family? Oh, it's terrible. They had to do a GoFundMe page. They had to pass the hat. And that time I felt guilty. I couldn't give as much as I could give. But it was so awkward. Oh, man. Well, that's why I'm here. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to you guys. I'm going to make sure that you, Joe, and you, Mary, and Sammy, Bridget, and Martha are going to be taken care of. Boom, you nailed it. Okay? So that's the elements of bond rapport. Like I said, I've got so many other techniques. But if you just do this, man, you'll be okay. Okay? By the way, I'm going to give this to you in an outline. I've got this fancy schmancy outline of this whole process. So you can take notes, but don't get like all, freaked out if you're not writing everything down. By the way, you will also have this video too to reference, okay? And then you're going to have notes. Okay, but again, I don't want you to get all freaked out. The whole purpose of bond and rapport is get that good juju going where they trust and believe you. And if you're good at making conversation and building rapport with people right away, some of you come from sales things that you're really good at this, well then, man, use all those things to create good juju with people. For brand new people that aren't very good at this, you do this and you're going to be well on your way, all right? So remember, trust and believe. That's what you're trying to develop here. Once you get that feeling, and you're going to get it because you're mirror matching, that, man, they trust you and you feel good. You got all that good juju going, then you can move into finding pain, okay? But not a minute too soon. I don't care if you spend 30 minutes here getting it right. It's better to do 30 minutes here getting it right than skipping over it and trying to speed through this. This, you got to take your time. You can do it in 15 minutes, but if it took you half an hour, 45 minutes, I don't care, because nothing else happens. Again, this is the foundational part of the process. Nothing else happens unless this is done well, okay? And you're going to start, the more you do this, the more you're going to start, feeling it, okay? Then you show them the companies, gives you a little credibility. And then the transition slide into pain finding is your financial picture.